Hello, and welcome back to Wamego. On today's video, we'll be learning about financial capital. Financial capital looks at the resources that are available to assist with business development, civic and social entrepreneurship, community building, and future community development. It considers things like a community's economic base, the types of businesses and jobs that are available, commuting patterns, and levels of income. There are a lot of moving parts that go into the consideration of this capital, and this can be seen in Jack Alston's description of Wamego's financial capital. Jack Alston serves as the Executive Director of the Potawatomi County Economic Development Corporation, and he has over 40 years of experience in the field. As a representative of the county, some of the information he provides is county-based, but most of his insight is centered around Wamego and its booming financial capital. Here is Jack to describe the capital and its current state.
The financial capital of Wamego is pretty strong. It has a strong financial base with several financial institutions. A community this size normally has one or two financial institutions. We have two that call Wamego their home, and several that are have branch banks inside the community. So it's a very active financial community. On the retail side, because we're so close to Manhattan, we have what's called a negative pull factor, or a pull factor less than 1, where a lot of residents from Wamego, especially if they work in Manhattan, they tend to shop in Manhattan because of the variety of stores there and the ability to shop in some of the big boxes. This is often true for groceries as well as department stores. However, on the tourism side, that we have really strong events like the Oz Festival, the 4th of July, and we have a big Christmas, a lot of Christmas events, and they tend to bring lots of people to Wamego for those events. The Tulip Festival has just been completed, does an outstanding job of bringing people in. So even though people tend to shop elsewhere, they come in for events, and then the retailers do substantially well because of that.
In addition to the benefits the tourism industry brings, Wamego has a diversified job market that allows individuals to find jobs and careers in the community. One of the main sectors of the job market in Wamego is the manufacturing industry. Jack touches on Wamego's strong economic base, the types of jobs in the community, and the resources that they bring.
The primary jobs in the community of Wamego, economic base jobs, are in manufacturing with companies like Caterpillar that employs around 450, Artec Tool and Machine, which employs over 50. Some very strong manufacturing base. We tend to have more manufacturing jobs as a percentage of total employment than other communities, because there's also manufacturing in the Potawatomi County section of Manhattan, companies like Parker Hannifin and GTM. So we have a very strong economic base as compared to some communities that are dependent upon one or two industries. We're pretty well diversified. At the same time, we have, as I mentioned, a number of people working in the financial industry and others. We have a significant call center or fulfillment center opportunities with LiveWatch and other companies. The implications are that the restaurants and some of the other businesses tend to do very well because of that manufacturing base.
As Jack briefly mentioned, many of Wamego's citizens work and shop in the Manhattan, Kansas area. Let's hear what Jack has to say about Wamego's commuting patterns and the implications it can have on the community.
The commuting patterns in Pottawatomie County is such that half the population goes out of town and the other half stay in, and we have a pretty strong input-output base or inflow-outflow base in Pottawatomie County, whereas in Manhattan, the people that work in Manhattan tend to live outside the community just because of the size of the community, inability to do a lot of new construction. So the area that's growing is Blue Township. Wamego tends to try to grow, but its city limits or the city boundaries need to grow, and it has difficulty doing that. So people tend to live around the Wamego area in some developments, and there's always a little bit of a struggle to get all the utilities into those developments and whatnot. The commuting patterns essentially are pretty good, but there's more and more people commuting into Manhattan as the university continues to grow and MBAF and the construction work in MBAF continues to ramp up.
To wrap up our discussion on Wamego's financial capital, it is important to touch on the community's labor force, level of income, and unemployment rate. These healthy figures show how the community is a success and Wamego's financial capital is truly prospering.
In the county itself, the labor force participation rate is close to 75%. That means that anybody who's eligible to work in the labor force, 75% of them are in the labor force. The unemployment rate's around 2.5%. That's mainly because of the more and more people entering the labor force in Pottawatomie County. What we think is with median household incomes about $56,000, and average family incomes in the proximity or over the 60s, we tend to do rather well, and in the percentage-wise, you get closer to Manhattan, and the incomes tend to grow. Median household income in Blue Township is $74,000. Wamego, $58,000. Much higher than other communities around the state, and we're not as high, of course, as Johnson County and Wyandotte County, but we're still up there.
Through the manufacturing industry, the proximity to Manhattan area, the level of income, and many other factors, the financial capital of this community is quite high. With the growth of more Blue Townships in the surrounding areas and the expansion of many industries, this community will continue to grow in this capital. Thanks for watching this week's episode, and we will see you next time on Welcome to Wamego.